G'day. Out in the bush again. How's that for a handbrake? Not a Toyota one. It's a Marx four-wheel drive adapter one. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we're going to be looking at the rear springs on the truck. The 700 kilo heavy-duty constant parabolics from Terrain Tamer. A lot of questions I've had. Happy to answer them. I love the things. We're a year into them and we'll look at them again. These 70s are becoming ever so popular. You see a lot of them on the road these days. They're great towing capacity and weight carrying ability. It's just setting them up. Nobody wants to set their truck up twice. So the suspension on these things from factory isn't up to what the specs say. So most people straight away, they'll fix the wheel track and they'll sort out the suspension. Now I want to show you these parabolic 700 kg constants. Now this truck's probably coming up to 5 years old. I've done 3 different leafs in the back. So originally I went with the TJM and then I went a light duty parabolic from Terrain Tamer before I worked out that these 700s were the spring for me. A lot of measurements and a lot of research at the beginning. Just over a year ago now, the boys at Terrain Tamer and myself, we worked on my particular vehicle. I've taken measurements from the start and then every quarter, every 3 months thereafter, and I can guarantee with these numbers that these springs haven't sagged a millimetre. So not all of us have got the addiction that I have with off-roading. I've got 3 or 4 vehicles and I try and push each one to their limit. I know each one's boundaries. So with the 79, I wanted to make it as comfortable a tourer and workhorse as possible. We use it for towing. We tow caravans, we tow car trailers, we tow the comp truck. But I also like to wheel with it socially. I've got 2 kids and this is the perfect vehicle for us when we're away. I want this to be as capable as possible. So with these springs in the rear and the negative 50 offset rims, we've really made this truck quite stable in the grey moments. Just stopped on a flat surface here. We're going to do a little experiment. We've got the Bible out, my 79 Bible, and we're just going to jot down a couple of measurements. So I keep track of pretty much everything that I do to this vehicle and when I do it and how many kilometers it's done. Anyway, so when we've originally, now this is important to do for yourself. I think I've said it already. You got to measure somewhere for yourself that's a reference point. So where I've done it is I've done it from the center of the hub. So I've used a little electrician's level and I've plumbed up to the underside of the tray. So in my case, I chose the bottom of that section there. So when we fitted the springs, working together with Alan Gray, we had measurements of it unladen on 0 PSI, with the van in tow at 20 PSI. That's obviously before I've loaded up because I've tried to keep it every 3 months. I've done the same measurement. Now the only measurement that's sagged at all is the comp truck on the on 45 PSI. I don't really like going more than that. I don't need to. But the trailer's been getting heavier and heavier, so we have had a 7mm sag over time. But towing the caravan, there's been no difference, and also unladen. So that means that every day-to-day basis, where I've got just the tools in the toolbox, they're the measurements. Now the measurement I want to take today and jot down, we're going to measure from the bottom of that rim up to the rail there next to the tie-down rail. And that's a measurement of 880mm. So we'll put this in a hole just down here. I'll get out and I'll measure. And what that'll show, it'll show how much droop I'm getting in millimeters. Not that it matters. Just something I want to show you how much flex that these springs can have, and realistically that's the reference point. I've got 18 pound in the tyres, so that's how we've done all the measurements that I've got in the book are from the center of that hub up to that point. And then each 3 months I've done the same, each time with a full tank of juice, because that 100 odd litres of fuel in the back makes a big difference to your measurements too. When I'm empty, I'm a lot taller in the back end. When I'm full, it sits where I want it to sit. So that's 100 kilos of liquid beyond the rear axle. It's roughly the center of it's where that water tank is. So it makes a big difference. Now all my measurements are done in the same configuration as the quarter before. Let's have a drive. The other thing I've strengthened up under here is the tail shafts. We've done a few. They're so long and the truck is so long in wheelbase that you find yourself on a pivot point. Now this Marks handbrake that we've fitted in, that's now a lot lower than the genuine cross member, but I still have found that I'm hitting that tail shaft quite a bit. So to rectify that, I've made up a chromoly shaft. It's a lot thicker. And so far we've been hitting it, but it hasn't bent yet. It's the same material we run in the comp truck, and that's copped the flogging. Now I don't think that's even anywhere near close to full flex on the rear. But I'll take some measurements and then we'll see if we can get it in a better spot on the way out. I'm going to measure from the bottom of this up to that. So that's 790. So we've come up 90 mil. So that's come up 4 inches. Now the spring's still got more to come up. You can see that shackle angle. It's just starting to now come to off 90 degrees. Have a look at the other side. So I'm calling that 990. So that's over 110 mil of droop. It's still got more to go. I've seen these separate. I've seen that shackle go even further forward. Just demonstrating how soft this spring is. It can carry weight. It can do this in the bush. It keeps you safe because you're not picking up the wheel that you don't want to be picking up off-road. Quick look at the shock while we're under here. So that shock, because of the angle it's on, it doesn't even come into the equation. We're never going to bottom out. We've still got probably 60 mil up there to go up. Now I don't think I'm going to get 60 mil more up travel in any case. And you know, we've still got shaft of about 120 mil left in that reservoir there. But like I said, these springs, for me, one of my favourite mods. Apart from the handbrake, more so because of the safety reason. The superior front arms, they help the suspension travel at the front. So you see a lot of lift kits go in and the shock's only got like 2 inches of out. So you're only going to have 2 inches of down travel. And then when we grafted these plates on, it changed the lengths again. So we don't have that big giant U-bolt at the bottom that's, you know, a lot further down. No reason why that shackle should be comfortable. It's not leaning back, but it's just the design of the spring. It's an amazing design the boys have come up with. You know, that's nearly leaning back. If that was a comp truck, it'd be picking wheels up going up a gutter. So as you can see, the front, it's also all custom that we've made. We've made this bump stop here so that spring can come out. That's the clicking you sometimes hear. And it'll reach up to here. So this has got a bit more down. That shock shaft probably got another inch or so. So, I mean, realistically, for a tourer that can tow 3 tonne, no modifications needed between one or the other. You just put a bit of air in the airbags for one and take it out for this. I think I was one of the first to be running the heavy-duty 700s outside of the boys at Terrain Tamer. So yeah, for me, that these are the compromise. They can carry the weight and they flex well better than a conventional pack. There's about 340 kilos of ball weight on this trailer when the truck's on it. So it just soaks up that weight. I mean, it doesn't even show signs of it being that heavy. You can see it easily soaks up the weight of that. And there's really not much movement in the spring itself. I have no ties with Terrain Tamer. So they don't sponsor the comp truck, they don't sponsor the Land Cruiser. This was a one-off One-off project we had together, we built the springs. I love them. I've had a lot of questions on my YouTube channel and Team Bullet's Facebook page about them. I rate them. The 700 kilo constant, it's an amazing concept that unladen, it can be so comfortable. On the road, I find it as comfortable as the back of the Hilux, which is, you know, a soft competition type spring. But then when I load it up and I put a little bit of air in the airbags, it's just as capable and comfortable as you know, a particular type of spring that you're going to get made up for heavy haulage. So it's the all-in-one spring. It's good for forward driving, it's good for towing, it's good for city driving, empty, full. I've had a ton of rubbish in the back of this. You know, I've just aired up the bags to suit. You know, we're still got to consider our GVMs in all this, but most blokes in 79s that actually push their trucks hard do have a GVM upgrade, because at 3 ton empty, I would be in trouble at a 3300 GVM. So yes, I love the springs. All right, so I've had to physically look for a spot to try and pick a wheel up whilst being, you know, in a position where I can get out and have a look at some measurements. But you can see where I've undone that saddle bolt. There would be a collar around that bolt, so that would be hitting at the moment. But look at that shackle, and I feel it's still got more. It's still on the ground. It's just, I've run out of rock here. Bottom of the rim, up to that. So we're still around the 990, so it's about as far as we got it last time. So I might just try and come over a little bit more where it's got a little bit further to drop down without rolling it. What about that handbrake, eh? So we're getting over 120 mil of droop from point to point. So that's 6 inches. I'm not sure a conventional pack is going to let it move that far. Actually, I'm pretty sure, because I had the conventional TJM ones. There's no way I was getting that much droop. So I'll conclude this video saying that yes, I highly recommend them. No ties to Terrain Tamer for me to be pushing their product. I push it because I believe it. I push it because you guys are asking me my opinion. So we're running this truck, we're pushing this truck to its limits. So we can answer the questions, and it's done the work to prove that they are a good quality material. They've not sagged a millimetre in over a year with all the fluctuating weights that we're towing and all the off-roading we do. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the driving. And as always, thanks for watching.